a certainty with Ken and Lockie having done such great work in the World Cups. You can see the boys there lining up in beanies. They're well and truly equipped. They look like they've got some vests underneath their race vests to keep the wind out.
It's a good mix of experience and new blood in the boat. Riley Fitzsimon's only 18 years old in seat number 2, and Jordan, I think, is he 20 or 19?
20, I believe.
20 in the back, and certainly able to pull their weight and also stay composed in these big races. So they're extremely competent, as they showed in Portugal and Duisburg last week.
Talking about last week, Duisburg, the Norman team that we've just seen in your picture, they actually came 9th.
Yes.
Germany is going to be interesting because there are 2 teams. They're switching the formations here. They got 2, and then the heats. They both look very impressive.
Yeah, they both won their heats.
That's correct. And Russia, there, Anton Vasilev is the only survivor from the K4 that won in the Worlds in 2013. Apart from that, they're doing lots and lots of switching. Familiar faces for those who follow this sport in Poland's team. They're pretty much the only ones who've kept Europeans. A month ago, they actually came 4th with this combination. And China in your team, they came 5th in Montemor 2 weeks ago with this combination. So we have some consistency, I guess. And with Canada, there's a lot of consistency there. They've done some performances worthy of note in the last couple of weeks.
It's a great platform for the German crews to go head-to-head in an international environment.
Well, lanes 4 and lanes 5 today, and they'll be both wearing the same gear, I guess.
Black boat and white boat.
Brady Reardon in your picture leading out the Canadians. He tried the K2 last year with Alan Van Koeverden, and he's now back in the K4 boat.
Lanes 4, the Germans have taken out very slight lead over their compatriots in lane 5, with the Poles on there, or the Russians, should I say, not far behind at all.
And when there's 4 big chaps in a boat, the wind, does that still come into it? And who gets hit the most?
Well, the front paddler gets hit the most, but yeah, there's certainly a lot more momentum, which is nice in the K4. But generally, it's always going to be a longer race, and you have to accommodate for that and race accordingly in terms of spending your energy throughout the race. And most of the time in a K4, and actually a lot of 1,000-meter races, crews will do a lift at the 500-meter mark, just to restart the race almost. So it'll be 10 to 20 double strokes, which will be called. So generally in a 1,000-meter, especially K4, you'll hear a lot of hups and calls at the 500-meter mark. It's like quite a chorus.
So is your countryman, how do you see Australia going?
Yeah, look, really well at this point. I mean, I'd suggested they wouldn't be as far up the field with the likes of Russia on this near side, but they're doing a fantastic job sitting in second at the moment behind the Germans, and really
almost coming up to the lead.
The only boat to challenge them are both the German boats. They will have a really great back end to finish with Jacob Clear in seat 3. He's a Olympic gold medalist from London, and the young boys of Riley Fitzsimmons and Jordan Wood, hammering through.
Jacob Clear we'll be seeing later in the program in the K1 500 metres, I believe.
Yep, and he'll be challenging for that podium for sure. He's
200 metres to go, and it is a really close race. Germany from Australia, with Germany also making a push.
Yeah, this is looking as though it's going to be a German tussle for gold, and Aussies will hang on for a podium finish. But this is a great finish from the Aussies. It looks like they've really started to kick up to try and challenge for that win.
Wow.
It's going to be between these 3 boats, which is quite exciting finish once again here in Copenhagen.
Down to the last 20 metres, and
Wow.
it's a photo finish. Who's taking it? It looks like Germany from Australia.
From Germany. Yep.
The
Lane
graphics
5.
haven't shown Australia, but they're certainly in the mix there.
Fantastic paddle by the boys.
It's a great paddle from the lane 5 German crew, sitting back slightly off the early leaders and their compatriots, and really finishing strongly to take first there, just ahead of the Aussies.
That's almost like a cage. That's almost like a 200-meter finishing photo.
If Australia finish second in the K2 200, will you sign for that?
Sure.
Yeah.
So you're not that ambitious.
Look, we just want to get out in there and have good, fair races. At this point, this is our third weekend on the trot, and we'll be looking to really consolidate a decent performance and make sure that we're in the top half of the A final. It's, you never count your chickens before they hatch.
Well, that's
really great
good
finish
to
from the
see.
boys.
3 boats within half a metre of each other after 1,000 metres of effort in challenging but hopefully fair conditions.
Yeah, it looked like those boats, right next to each other, they would have hit it out really evenly all throughout the race. Those young boys in Riley Fitzsimmons and Jordan Wood being led by a great stroke and David Smith, they'll be really, really happy to come away with a medal from this World Cup.
Confirmation of the result. Germany take the silver, Germany take the gold, Australia take the silver, and Germany take the bronze medal. Germany's who won, that was Schubert, Rischbach, Stonsky and Spener, in lane number 5.
Yeah, some certain experience in that boat. Martin Schubert leading that boat has been around for a fair while.
Tough task for the German selectors as well, with such close racing for their crews. There's no real outlier in their camp, so
I guess that drives everyone higher and higher.
yeah.
Hello, we're looking forward to action-packed day today. First of all, we're starting off with the K1 500 metres final, and you can see for yourself 10 finals to look forward to. It's gone back to the schedule we had last year, so it starts off with just the sprinting today. I'm Matthew Layton, as you know. I'm joined by Adam van Koeverden, who has many, many gongs to his name, and he's not competing today. He's actually scratched yesterday. Hello, Adam.
Hey, how you doing? Sorry if you can hear it in my voice. I've just been battling this coughing and sneezing all week, so I decided to take my Sunday off, which is a little bit embarrassing seeing my name on the screen there and having an empty lane, but it's just the way it goes. It's cold weather racing, I guess.
Well, we can only battle who we battle against. Lane number 5, it's Bill Bain, who looks like he's going to be a star of the future.
Yeah, he's been paddling really, really well, and I've met him in quite a few races in the last couple of weekends, so it's been really good. You've also got Gabor Bosek over on lane 3, who's paddling really, really well. Former Hungarian paddler who's paddling for Turkey. Quite a trend going on right now. You got Johnny Boyton in lane 7 and a young Hungarian guy in lane 6. A little bit of a false start there from the boys.
Also Matthew Bowley, who partnered Ed Rutherford yesterday with some success. So they've been doing distant levels. Ed used to go with John Boynton, who's now specialising in the 500 and 1000.
Yeah, shouldn't count out Finn in lane 9 and or the pole in lane 1. These guys are all well matched. I should also point out my clubmate and countryman, Rob Clark, in lane 8. Shot of the boys there. Bill Bain seems to have the advantage out of the blocks after about 100 meters. Certainly got a nose on the rest of the guys. Pushing ahead now, actually. Just, this pole is sitting in second. Gregor. A good little push from Rob Clark in lane 8 from Canada. But Bill Bain's certainly still pushing out strong for about this 200 meter mark in 40 seconds. It's a good strong pace from young Bill.
Australians have a big K4 contingent that are working through the season. He still has, over half a length, both length, coming into about 230 metres to go.
Yeah, Bill's been paddling really, really well. He's a strong athlete. He's a medalist at the U23 World Championships a couple of years ago in Canada. So he's showing his good form now. With only 200 meters left, he's still got that full boat length. Let's see if he can hang on.
Poland at the top of your picture, also coming still in the race, but there's very much a case of Bill has nearly a boat length ahead. Can they catch him?
He seems to be fading a little bit. He's not got that full boat length anymore. John Boyton is on his right, coming at him pretty strong right now. Wouldn't count out the pole on the far lane 1 there. But Bill seems to be not a second wind, but he's holding on. He's definitely toughing it out here. And
so 100 meters to go, and can he hold on? John Boynton is looking like he's really accelerating into the last 50 meters.
Yeah, this is a good little battle here between the two of them, and Rob Clark in lane 8 is also pushing strong through the finish. Rob just had a little bit of a wobble, but I think Johnny's might have just got the edge on Bill. But Bill hangs on for a second place finish.
So John
Rob Clark in lane 3, or in third in lane 8.
Well, we're just making a little bit of extra room on the plateau here for our special British consultant. If you just put that on your head, please. Jess Walker, good morning.
Morning.
First impression,
Morning, Jess.
John Boynton's just won a race.
Yeah, that was awesome. It was a really good finish. That was pretty impressive.
You were too busy outside cheering for him. You could come into the studio.
Yeah, I ran up here.
So this is coming
Good
to you.
strong strokes from John there right at the end.
In the last 50 meters, he really came back, didn't he?
Yeah, excellent paddling.
It's the B final, we must stress. This is the K1 500 meters B final.
Water's quite a bit flat yesterday.
Let's look at the unofficial results. The John Boynton takes the first place. It is the B final for Great Britain. Bill Bain second for Australia.
And in third, you missed Rob Clark, my countryman.
I thought you would fill that in.
Third, yeah. He had a good strong finish there as well.
The K1 500 men's final, as you can see down the list, there's some big athletes, very motivated. I guess Rennie Holton-Poulsen is possibly the most motivated out there. He took a very good silver medal yesterday.
Yeah, for sure. He's definitely in front of a hometown crowd and wants to win a gold medal for Denmark. Max Hoff is also in lane 3, I think, and a gold medalist yesterday. He's certainly a guy to watch. But the newcomer on the scene, Alexei Molchanov from Uzbekistan, had a really, really fast start yesterday. And well, I'm interested to see how Jake Clear goes. He's a K4 star from Australia, Olympic champion. Won his heat pretty easily. So, we've also got some younger guys in Mika Dietrich from Finland, who was a surprise winner in my semifinal. This is a pretty stacked A final.
I'd say that Jacob Clear is one to watch in this.
Well, Adam was sitting with the other three of the awesome many a few minutes ago. What are their thoughts?
The Aussies, the Aussies are always going to cheer for the Aussies for sure. But we didn't really actually talk about their expectations for this race. But I think, watch lanes 3, 4, 5, and 6. Certainly watch Renee towards the end of the race. It's going to be interesting. He's got a lot of pressure on him racing in front of a hometown crowd. So that can be both positive and a little bit intimidating. But this will be a great race.
Well, they're on the bucket. Tension must be the maximum.
We've got 2 Danes here, actually. Orion Pilo is in lane 8. Which is,
I think he was under
great for him.
23 European champion.
Yeah, really good sprinter. Oh, and another false start.
He'll be looking to beat Renee in this.
Only last weekend, it's one of the few times in his career, I believe, that he actually pulled up in the K1 500 meters. He said he had a throat infection which affected his performance in the 1,000 somewhat, and he started off in the K1 500 but just couldn't do it. And I believe he's been on some penicillin, and he was saying he's better now.
Yeah, there's of an infection going around the canoe kayak circuit right now, and they're off. Alexei Molchanov from Uzbekistan blasting out of the blocks as he did yesterday. Orion Pilo also from Denmark is fast in the first set of cans. Renee looking really, really relaxed. And Jake might be a little out of sorts off the start in the K1. He's used to being behind 2 or 3 guys in the K4, but expect a big finish from him. But it's Renee out to a really, really strong start in lane 6 with his countryman Orion Pilo right next to him, pushing forward actually, pushing up the pace. Wouldn't count out Max. He's sitting back right now, but he's a very, very strong finisher as we've seen in the 1000s. But the 2 Danes really pushing out stroke for stroke. Wow, it's an incredible shot. Renee seems to be taking a little bit of an edge. Orion, a good 200-meter guy, so it'll be interesting to see if he can hold on in the second half. We haven't seen Alexei pull back yet, and Max is starting to push now. See the red nose of Max's boat moving incredibly fast. And Orion's not fading. With less than 200 meters to go, Orion is still pushing up. And watch Max over in lane 3. Having a pretty good finish here.
Looks like Renee's starting to pull ahead slightly at the minute.
Really looks like Renee's got a strong finish. Got a little bit of work to go, 100 meters left now.
And Max Hoff hasn't had his last say yet.
Renee's really, really strong, got quite a lead. It'll be up to him to hold it, but Max is really pushing strong.
The guy in the blue.
Yeah, and our Tunisian paddler down low is also
no doubt about who's going to take the victory. Renee Holton-Poulsen comes across and is going to be desperately close in second place.
Excellent race from Renee.
And then Max Hoff
pretty much can
Mokolov.
from can, and then I think we can call Max as second and Uzbekistan as third in this K1 500. Really a bit of a breakthrough World Cup season from Alexei from Uzbekistan. He's had a lot of really, really great results. Impressive paddling in the 500 as well. You can see that start, the two Danish paddlers and the Uzbekistani guy, Alexei Mokolov, really pushed out of the blocks quicker, and it allowed Renee to relax out of the blocks. So the first 200 meters, you can see really, really relaxed paddling from Renee. An impressive start from the second Danish paddler, and he held on.
Like you correctly suggested, Max Hoff takes the silver medal.
And in fourth, the same as fourth yesterday, I think, was Mohamed Ali Rabet from Tunisia.
That's correct.
Really, really exciting paddling from him, from a country that doesn't have a incredible history in our sport, so he's really breaking some ground.
Well, let's look at the actual unofficial results. It's Renee Holton-Poulsen takes the gold medal for Denmark, Max Hoff for Germany takes the silver, and Alexei Mokolov from Uzbekistan takes the bronze. Like you said, Tunisia takes the fourth place as yesterday.
Yeah, really good on Renee for dealing with the pressure of a hometown crowd and paddling really well through the whole 500 there. Leading can to can is difficult, but he did a great job.
Move on to the next event. It's the K4 women 500 meters with China looked good in both heats yesterday. Great Britain, Jess, you might know something about them.
Yeah, this is a new combination. The last time, well, they have raced together before in 2013, and they medalled in one of the World Cups then, and they've just changed the order around between Hayley and Louisa, so it'd be good to see how that goes.
We say the young Swedes, but they've been together now for the last 4 years. Linnea Stensels, she's going in the K1 200 a little bit later in the activities, and she's stepping up. There's your great British team as you change the order a little bit around. Are you not wanting to be out there?
I would like to race K4 sometime, but just for these World Cups they're trying this combination. But the Chinese boats look really strong.
And they're switching them around quite a lot. If you look at the Asian Games where they won in 2014, there's a couple of the athletes in it, but they're not in the same formation, same boats as this time.
Okay.
And they I think they came 4th or 5th in Montemor, again with not the same combination.
The German boat looks really strong as well. They put their 200-meter girl in the front, which is quite interesting.
Francesca Weber and Connie Vasmuth and Tina Dietze, there's some world and Olympic champions in that crew, so certainly don't count them out. But the Russians, as always, look really, really strong with Yuliana. And yeah, there's some familiar names in that crew. But then lane 8, I wonder if there's something wrong with the blocks. Well, 3 false starts in a row, I'd be concerned that maybe they're not going down when the beeper goes.
There's been a few challenges. I know Friday one of the pleasure boats chopped all the lines, which is a bit of a challenge. And here we go. We have Emma Jorgensen and Henrietta Henson, who clearly are making a very strong partnership together.
Yeah, really strong in the K2, so to stick them in K4 is a good plan. And then our Canadian crew of Geneviève Beauchesne-Sevigné, Emily Fresnel, Hannah Vaughn, and Kathleen Fraser, Casey Fraser in 3rd spot there. And they're off. Always hard to tell who gets the best start in K4 until they take a couple of strokes, but it does look like Germany and the UK, as well as Canada, probably in the top 3 positions. The 200-meter specialist Sabina from Vols from Germany is stroking that German crew very, very strong, and not too high a stroke rate for a sprinter, which is good. Pretty typical of a German K4.
They normally have a low stroke rate.
But don't count out the Chinese crew over in lane 4 or 5. It's hard to tell, but they both look like they're paddling strong. Very bundled up, though. They look like they might be a little cold out on the water today. The Swedes over in lane 2 still looking strong, but I think the edge is I think Great Britain, Germany, and Canada are still leading with top 3 positions. Good head-on shot from the German crew there. The Chinese over in lane 4, certainly challenging now for the top spot. The Germans and the Russians are not giving it up.
And the Danish are up there.
Yeah, the Danish are also strong over in lane 8. This is a close K4 race with China, Germany, and Russia leading the way in that order, I think.
I think Russia might just have it.
Looks like Germany, then Russia, then China at this stage.
Well, last 50 metres again, Germany certainly
Denmark.
starting to pull ahead slightly. Germany going to take it just ahead of Russia in the end. They had a fantastic finish, and China's slowing up slightly as they come into the last 30 metres.
Looks like Denmark might have squeezed 4th or 5th there. Very good result for a young Danish crew, with the exception of a veteran, Henrietta.
The Brits always have a good start, especially with Lani in the front.
Good K2 200 combination in there.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. It's a really close race for women's K4. You can see the German crew pretty stacked up, to be honest. This is probably their best combination, I'd say, with Olympic champions that go back as far as 2008 in that crew. So Connie Wasmuth, of course, in second spot there, was Olympic champion in Beijing, and she was a late add because she took over from somebody who was sick in Beijing and really managed to win despite that. So a lot of experience in that crew.
And Tina and Francesca were delighted to be back together again in the K2 500.
They look spent. K4 500 was always the most difficult event. I'm glad that we don't race it anymore as men.
Okay, well, the unofficial results are giving Germany gold, Russia silver, and China a very deserved, out most of the race, a bronze medal out.
Hometown crew, 4th from Denmark. It's a strong finish, just ahead of the second Chinese crew. And Great Britain, Sweden, Canada leading out.
So let's go thick and fast into the action. We're switching from kayaks to canoes. It's the C1 500, and again, like the C1 1000, there's been no heat, so it's straight through.
Yeah, direct final in these events, which is must be difficult actually to not have to go through the rounds, because most athletes like the heats and the semis to sort of warm up, but it's been a bit of that situation for the men's canoe athletes at these World Cups, with either top 3 direct from heats or a direct final in this case. But
well, Nikolai Kratchin in your picture, his brother Sergei was in action last week, keeping in the family. So in Chen, he made the final in Duisburg.
Incredibly fast Russian C1 sprinter Ilya Shtokolov, really strong. I think he was world champion last year in Russia at home, in C2 I think it was. The German, we haven't seen too much from this German. He's a C2 paddler.
Well, last week I think they were a little bit down because they were beaten to the C2 1000 for the Baku places. You talk about this chap all day.
Yeah, Mark Oldershaw, my buddy. Been paddling with this guy since the mid-90s. Expect a strong race from lane 5. Mark Oldershaw, he's probably more pleased with these conditions, a little bit flatter than yesterday. It was a bit of a left win for the guys yesterday. Another Italian, another Russian, and a Tunisian in lane 9. We're starting to see a lot of Tunisia. Exciting times for that country. And once again, a false start line. Starting to wonder.
I think the bucket goes green, and then people think to go, but it hasn't gone down.
It's the same system that they used at the Olympics. It's the Polarita system, which is, I think it's an Italian start gate, but they seem to be malfunctioning a little bit at the 500-meter line. Hope it doesn't cause too much of a distraction or a delay.
So yesterday the commentators were admiring the fact that Mark can keep it at top level for 3 weeks in a row.
Yeah, and he's raced 4 times in 5 weeks. So we had our trials race in very early May. So this is a lot of racing for Mark. But Mark's a competitor and he loves racing. The German in lane 4 is definitely pulling it out there, offering a really fast start in this 500. There's definitely 2 schools of thought in the 500: blast out and hang on, or hold back and blast the last 200 meters. We'll see which one prevails today.
And we have to mention Sebastian Brendel, who is here this weekend and convincingly won the C1 1000, has decided to go in the C1 200 this weekend. That's why he's not competing here.
Really fast start from the Italian, formerly Romanian Nikolai from lane 1 over there. You can still see him in your screen. Good shot of Mark Oldershaw over in lane 5. Seems to be pacing himself a little bit. Expect a strong finish from Mark in the final 200. Good head-on shot though from the German, Bill Oldsey. And it seems to be the three of them out, Ilya, Yul, and Nikolai from Russia, Germany, and Italy, respectively. And then Mark is holding in fourth. A little bit pensive here. I'm expecting strong finish from Mark Oldershaw. Stroke rate is coming up just before the 200-meter gates. Mark's starting to take quite a few strokes now, and the guys that took it out strong might be feeling a little bit of heat from that first 300 meters. A really good finish, really strong finishes here from...
Well, Stocklock in your picture, he bronzed yesterday, and he's had some, like you mentioned, he's been on top form, 28 years old, been on top form for the last couple of years now.
Still really, really strong finish from the German who went out, or sorry, the Russian who went out really, really fast. Germans are starting to fade a little bit. Mark seems to be able to reel him in here.
Well, there's going to be an exciting finish. We've got 60 meters to go, and Stokolov, but Mark Oldershaw is really coming past quickly.
The other Russian in lane 8. Keep an eye on him at the bottom of your screen.
I think he's going to win it.
Pavlov, we haven't talked about him much. He looks like it's going to be a lunge for the line for the two Russians.
I think he lunged too early.
I think it might have gone Russia, Canada. I think that's my guess. But we didn't talk about Mikhail Pavlov at all during that race, and he surprised us in the last 200 meters, but he seems to be the winner. Congrats to Mikhail, and apologies for not focusing on him more throughout the race. Really, really strong C1 500 from the Russian contingent of Ilya and Mikhail. Just interested to see, yeah, Mikhail's start in lane 8 was, he was way back, so he definitely employed the wait and go strategy where the other guys seem to go and then fade a little bit towards the end. Really, really strong strokes from the Russian in the final 100 meters there. It'll just come down to the boat chute here between the two Russians. And it looks like lane 8 prevailed, and then, it's
desperately close by a couple of centimeters, it looked like. Mark Oldershaw missed out.
Yeah, it looks like Mark was 4th, just behind Yul, who, like you said, might have a little bit of a chip on his shoulder from last week for not being able to qualify that C2. Really, really close in the C2 1000 between the two German crews.
Well, confirmation. There's still unofficial. Mikhail Pavlov takes the gold for Russia. Ilya Stokolov takes the silver for Russia. And Yul Ulst takes the bronze for Germany. And Canada, Mark Oldershaw just missing out by 200ths of a second.
Yeah, 2/10, I think, and it's a really, really close race as we saw, and it was basically just coming down to that boat chute. Classic final lunge of the C1 athletes. Be nice, if we could just not take our last stroke. Just lean back on the boat. And you're already sitting down, I suppose. So.
It's about the timing though as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
You can ask a Brazilian, sometimes you fall out and have a bit of mud on your face.
Yeah. It's hard to see actually out there where the finish line is. There isn't as much going on in some of the other race courses. Some of the race courses have a line on the finish line, and way back, I think in maybe 2004 or 5, we had bubble lines on some of the finish lines, which was an actual physical line that you can see. I guess the rowers can't even see the finish line, though. I don't.
They have to feel it.
But here, a couple of words about the conditions and the course.
Yeah, today is much, much nicer, especially from up here in the tower. You don't see any chop even up towards the 750 or 1,000 meter mark. Really strong winds yesterday, making for some challenging racing for all the distances, but especially in the 1,000 meter races because it got quite choppy up at the top. And some of the interior lanes, 1, 2, 3, experience a little bit of back bounce from the waves coming back from the shore. And if you're looking at a picture of the course from above, you'll notice there's 3 little outcroppings, one at the 1,000 meter start line, and then one around the 400, one around the 600. And those little outcroppings, supposedly there's some shallow water around those spots. The men's K1 500 medal ceremony. Expect some cheers here for hometown boy Rene Poulsen.
And presenting the medals today are the ICF president. In your picture now, Jose Perina from Spain.
The medals will be presented
top
by
international paddler in his day.
The International Canoe Federation, the president of the International Canoe Federation, and the team leader of Denmark.
Nummer 3 og bronzen vinder.
The bronze medalist, Alexei Mopolov from Uzbekistan.
As we see stepping up for the mark, you mentioned he's 25 years old and he's really put some cracking performances in the last few weeks together.
I was chatting with him yesterday at after one of our races, and he's really, really pleased with his paddling, obviously. He's also got a 3-year-old daughter at home, and really, really proud of her, and he couldn't help but brag to me about his daughter. So that's, pretty lovely to hear from a guy like that, and a young man who's proud of being a fatherhood.
Max Hoff looks like he enjoys every minute of this game.
Really does, and he certainly sets the bar high for the rest of us. Max is an incredible competitor, and he's pushing the level of the sport up constantly. He's a genuine guy and a real sportsman. He's only got kind words for his competitors, and it's very encouraging to everybody out there.
This is what the crowd want to hear. It's the gold medalist René Halton-Poulsen from Denmark, who should take his cap off. Thank you.
There's a reason he's got his cap on, though, Matt. Come on, it's all about marketing. Congrats to René. Really well performed race. He took it out hard and lasted right to the finish line, so very well deserved. It's always nice to hear the hometown, the home country's national anthem at the Congratulations to René. It must be nice to stand on Lake Bagsvara here in Denmark and hear your own national anthem. That's quite a thrill, I'm sure.
And he was even taking selfies with the Crown Prince Frederik yesterday of Denmark, who was giving out the awards. They seem to know each other quite well.
Selfies have become quite a phenomenon, but if you recall, a couple of years ago, the Prime Minister of Denmark got herself into a little bit of trouble taking selfies with Barack Obama, and some people suggested that it might not be appropriate. Obviously, you give the camera to the guy with the longest arms, and in every case, that's Max Hoff. So, well done, gentlemen.
Next race we're going to cover is arguably the quickest paddlers on the planet. Mark de Jong, what's his form at the moment? We're talking about the K1 200 meter side.
Yeah, Mark de Jong, he's in lane 2 right now, and I think he's in excellent form. He always looks like he's in excellent form to me. But it's still very early in the season for these gentlemen.
And we have a world champion, Peter Manning. We have an Olympic champion, Ed McKeever.
We have another world champion, Mark de Jong, in lane 2. So it's world and Olympic champions all throughout the start line.
Tim Hornsby, an Olympian. Felix Koenig, we haven't seen much of him on the top international scale, so it'll be interesting to see how he performs.
Yeah, he's a new name, but Cesar from Ecuador, I love saying his name. He's making sure that we've got representation from all the continents on this at this regatta, and he's a very strong, incredible paddler, originally from Argentina, and as you like to point out, he's a truck driver. He used to be a truck driver.
And for Korea, I don't know how many Korean competitors there are, but Wan Ho-cho made it to the finals. That'd be great to see.
Yeah, really impressive actually, and of course we should also point out that Gwangi is making sure that the representation goes all the way to Asia. So it's truly an international field here. There's a couple names I don't recognize, but that's not to suggest that they aren't world class. Lanes 1 and 9, both from Poland. It'll be exciting to see them. But of course, as you pointed out, Ed McKeever in lane 7, Olympic champion. Peter Manning, world champion, and most recently medalist in Duisburg. Very good. Lane 3, Tim Hornsby from the USA, obviously a training partner of Mark de Jong. These guys have the same coach, Fred Jobin, and Tim does most of his training in Canada or wherever Mark is. So a really good example of not just sportsmanship, but compatriotism and ensuring that they're both at the top of their game.
And Tim, one of the favourite moments was when Tim's mother was watching him to qualify for the Olympics in Poznan, and I was standing next to her, and I still have the ringing in my ears from when she was screaming for her son.
The Hornsby family has always been a strong one around the Lake Lanier Canoe Club, or the host club of the 2003 World Championships.
Peter Manning, top athlete, not too far away from home.
Oh, we've seen good performances already from the Swedes, and perhaps they're familiar with the surroundings or the hometown feel of being in Scandinavia. A good shot of Cesar from Ecuador. Of course, the Olympic champion, Ed McKeever.
Who struggled a bit last season because he had some sort of infection, so he missed the World Cups, I believe. And Jess, you must know something about Ed.
Yeah, Ed was quite ill for a while at the beginning of the season, but then he came through amazingly towards the end of the year. It just shows how focused he is, that he can just turn it around by the time he gets to the summer.
And we saw Paweł Kaczmarek from Poland. So Poland lane 1, Poland lane 9, Peter Manning lane 5, Mark de Jong, who this will be his 3rd weekend in a row he's competed. That'll take some going. Ed McKeever, let's see what sort of form he's coming into. And Cesar Cesare, who won his heat. So there's lots of exciting stuff. It's not going to be Maxime Richard, Beaumont's rather, this weekend. He won the first 2 regattas of the season. This is the 3rd regatta, clearly.
He's a new father as well.
Yeah, about a month ago.
Ooh.
Oh, another false start. Seems to be a trend this morning.
I love watching Ed McKeever on the start. Just
It's like his shoulders come up and his head goes so much forward power.
What's the definition of a false start? Because it's probably not a false start in the sense that no one's called back.
Well, somebody started early, so that's why the boots didn't go down. If everybody takes a stroke, I don't know if they're going to charge anybody, but they seem to be ready to go now.
Well, they're off the
Boys are
line.
off. Really good start from Peter Menning in the middle lane, and also Ed McKeever in lane 7. Really
Mark de Jong
fast
strong
stroke
as
rate.
well up at the top with the red tip to the boat.
Yeah, Mark de Jong's winning to the first set of cans, about 750. Incredible stroke rate from Felix Koenig from Germany. But I
And
think
Ed McKeever looking strong at the bottom of your picture.
I think it's still Mark de Jong with a little bit of an edge over Peter Menning.
So it's
over lane
Canada
2.
from Sweden, from Cesar Desari also coming into the picture.
Peter Menning with a really strong push through the middle of the race, though. Mark de Jong's holding on. They seem pretty even. It looks like Peter Menning, Mark de Jong, and then Ed McKeever. No big lunges at the finish line this week. I think a couple people last week might have shot a little bit too early, but looks like a strong finish from Peter Menning.
Well, they're calling Peter Menning the winner, so it's fairly high pedigree podium.
Yeah, only world and Olympic champions allowed on this podium, I suppose. It's the level is constantly going up in men's K1 200 as it's a relatively, I won't call it a new discipline, but it's certainly started to gain in caliber in the last couple of years as it's achieved Olympic status.
And you think that's quite close to the maximum they can do?
I think last year proved that the 34 barrier wasn't insurmountable, because some of the guys started going under 34, which is an incredible time. That starts like it's a K2 time.
Well, clearly Peter Manning by about a meter takes it in front of Mark de Jong.
And Ed McKeever in 3rd place there. Really strong finish from those 3 guys. Seemed pretty even off the line, so it really came down to the second 100 in that race. We didn't see anybody blast out.
And the good news is here we go. Yeah, unofficial results. Peter Manning takes the gold for Sweden. Mark de Jong, silver for Canada. Ed McKeever takes the bronze medal for Great Britain, with Cesar Cesare just slightly down out of the picture.
Yeah, it used to be that 35 seconds was a remarkably fast 200-meter time, but these days it's pretty pedestrian, and it's a little bit of a head breeze out there for these guys in cold water and early in the season, so 35 seconds is just every day for them.
C1 200 men. We heard about an hour ago that Ivan Shatil, who has been struggling with a slight back strain, pulled out. So don't expect him to be on lane number 3. Sebastian Brendel, who won his heat, is going to be having a real cracking challenge against Stefan Kiri, who's a specialist in this. European champion Andre Creto was looking on good form in the last few weeks ago. Chang Li from China. He's very versatile. He's taken medals at this level. And we've got Nikolai Kachin, who's back on the water.
He probably didn't even get off the water, I imagine, the C1 500.
I deliberately haven't mentioned the 2 1s, 1 and 2. You can mention those.
Sure. Well, lanes 1 and 2, we've got a bit of a horse race in lanes 1 and 2 and 4 and 5 between Canada and Germany. In lane 1, Ben Tardioli, who's a great paddler from Ottawa. He made the final last year at the World Championships in C1 200, sorry. And Olympian Jason McCombs in lane 2 right next to him. So these guys are, I think their selection's over, but they're still battling it out for posterity's sake. I think Jason McCombs has sealed up his spot for the Pan Am Games and the World Championships this year, but Ben Tardioli certainly wants to show how fast he can go in the C1 200-meter final.
Because last year it was desperately close to those 2, and this year it's come desperately close again, haven't they?
Yeah,
they're really, really touch and go every time.
They're also really, really young, so it's incredible. You know, Jason was my teammate in London. It was his first time going on a he'd never been to the World Championships before, so we went to the Olympics before he went to the World Championships, and Senior World Championships, I should say, and he was like 18 years old. It was incredible. He's got really, really bright guy. He can finish a Rubik's Cube in under 45 seconds, if that's worth mentioning at the C1 200 meter.
Definitely. Sebastian Brendel, who has dominated the C1 1000, having a go at the 200. Stefan Kiri, who's certainly looked on really, really good form yesterday.
It'll be interesting to see how the 1,000 meter specialist, Sebastian Brendel, an Olympic champion in that event, pulls it through in the 200. Mentioning the other day that some of the seaboat athletes, the canoe athletes, seem to be able to cross over between distances a little bit easier than some of the kayakers. Maybe it's because it's a more technical event.
And we saw a minute ago Nikolai Kretschmann, I'd say you'd probably say he hasn't come off the water.
If he had, it was just for a quick drink of water, because it's only been about 15 minutes since his last race. So an impressive Sunday morning of racing for him.
And Meunier in your picture?
Yeah, Anton Meunier, and again, problems with the start gates for either the athletes or the starter. Who knows which, but Anton Meunier is originally from Lac-Beauport, Quebec, or at least raced for Lac-Beauport. Is now racing for the United States. Good friend of the Canadian team as well, and joins us at a lot of training camps.
So Sebastian Brendel started in the water in '96, had 3 years of kayaking, and then decided to go canoeing, fell out for the first year, and decided he was actually quite good.
I didn't know that.
He said when he
Can I say that I'm thankful that he's a canoer?
Well, I think you're a champion of champions.
The boys are out. The boys are off the line. You can see Ben Tardioli in lane 1, really, really fast start, as well as the Chinese athlete in lane 7. Seems to be Kirai and...
So China looking to put forward a really good pressure, but do expect some quick move from Germany. Stefan Kirai.
Sebastian seems to be struggling a little bit just behind Kirai, but expect a really strong last couple hundred meters. Although the two Canadian guys really pushing strong. Again, less than a meter between them.
But coming into it, it looks like China again. But Andre Crater should do something special here for Russia.
Li from China, really, really, really strong finish, as well as... Wow, that was a little bit too close to call, but I think we can say that with confidence that Qiang Li from China, C1 World Cup winner in the 200 meter. Incredible. He's not sure, but he wants somebody to confirm it. There he goes.
Claim it, doesn't he?
Yeah, really strong finish from I think Ben Tardioli in lane 1. I'm not certain. We'll see in a moment, but
Stefan Kirai also looked good there.
Yeah, I think Kirai was on the podium, but again, really, really hard to tell. Andre Crater from Russia was certainly in the mix as well.
As I mentioned, even Shatil didn't strain his back, so was excused duty this weekend.
Come down to the finish line. My apologies. It's Jason McCombs just ahead of Benjamin Tardioli. I'm taking note of the Canadian paddlers.
Ooh, that's very close.
That's impossible to call for silver and bronze between Andre Crater and Stefan Kirai. It's certainly Qiang Li from China with a gold medal, and I think Jason McCombs in 4th place for Canada. But he's not sure. I love it when he's sort of looking into the crowd for a little bit of confirmation. It's like, what? That was a pretty strong victory in a C1 200 meter race. He had a couple of meters there. I'd expect almost half a second.
I would expect the results to come up. No doubt about who crossed the line first. Zhang Li from China takes the gold medal. Andre Crater is given the silver, and Stefan Kiri is given the bronze medal, with the Canadians just falling short this time.
Just a matter of 1600ths there, I think, between Andre Crater and Stefan Kiri. And 4th and 5th for the Canadians, which is a great result for young guns from Canada.
K1 women 200 meter final. All eyes have to be on Lisa Carrington in lane number 6, but Hannah Brown's made the final. Yuzu's made the final. You can see Linnea Stencils, who's going to game in the K4s, also made the final. Michelle Russell is a great talent. So a lot of interest here, mainly for 2nd place. Shouldn't perhaps say that, but I'm going to.
It's worth saying, I think, at this point. Lisa seems to be fairly unbeatable, which is incredible. She's got a target on her back, though. These girls really want to show that they're at her caliber. But also worth pointing out, as you did, that there's 2 or 3 girls in this race who were in the K4 just 30 minutes ago, less than 30 minutes ago, and that's Sabrina Herring. No, it was Sabina, wasn't it? Sorry, my apologies. It's not the same Sabina. But Linnea Stencils from Sweden certainly was stroking the K4 200 a few minutes ago.
And Klinova from Kazakhstan, she's also had some good results so far this season.
I apologize, that was K4 500 a couple of minutes ago, not K4 200, K4 200 this afternoon. Good shot of Hannah Brown.
Tell me something about it.
Yeah, Hannah last year had a stress fracture, so she struggled a bit. So this year she's had a really good winter's training and definitely looking on form, and had a good run in Portugal. And I think she's feeling a lot better. So it's good for her to be in the A final now and trying to get close to the medals.
And in stencils, she looked good. She was quite close to Lisa Carrington in the first round, so it's really interesting to see her. Yuzu won the silver medal, I believe, in the Asian Games in the 200, won the gold medal in the 500, so she's looking good. And Lisa Carrington, you can talk for years about her at the moment.
Yeah, she's pretty much won everything there is to win lately, and really impressive paddling. Seems to have her eyes focused squarely on the prize. Michelle Russell, really great competitor, also quite young, from Canada. Saw some good racing from her at the U23 World Championships, and over the course of this World Cup circuit, she's been very strong. And again, this is her 4th race in 5 weeks, so good on Michelle for finishing strong here.
And Sabrina Herring, part of the German 6 or 7 athletes that are mixing around in different boats. Yvonne Schering is evergreen. She keeps getting year after year after year, and is putting good efforts forward in the K1 500 and also holding
world
her weight.
champion in K2 500 from 2011, worth pointing out.
That was your golden year, one of them, wasn't it?
One of mine. Oh, thanks, Matt. Really impressive start there from Lisa. Seemed to just get an edge from the very first second. Glad that we didn't have a false start on that race, with Hannah Brown really, really strong, as well as Ina Klinova from Kazakhstan. Seems to be those 3 leading through the first set of cans. Stroke rate's already up from Lisa. Sometimes we see her wait until the second 100, but she seems to be going out strong right now.
She's already turned the motor on, hasn't she?
I think she's already ahead at 100. She'll be way ahead by the time she gets to the finish.
Let's almost ignore Lisa. The fight for second place is going to be very close, though. Top of your picture, it's Klinova in the green and white yellow boat.
Yvonne Schering from Austria down below at lane 9, not to be ignored.
It looks like Schering's going to take. Lisa Carrington crosses the line first by country mile. Second is Yvonne Schering.
Looks like third to Ina Klinova, and fourth Linnea Stencils from Sweden.
So yesterday we were talking to her after her 500 victory. She said she'd learned an awful lot about the racing and how she manages the 2 events over the last 3 weeks. Clearly last weekend she didn't compete in the K1 200, but she is a phenomenon, and head and shoulders against better than the rest at the moment.
I think she might actually be class of the sport, not just class of the field right now. It's probably worth pointing out, with a victory like that, repeated victories like that, that Lisa Carrington is probably the best athlete in our sport right now. And that's not to say that we don't have lots of them, but she just seems so dominant.
But we all say, she's not here at the moment, but Laurence Vincent-Lepoint also seems to do the same thing in C1 Women's 200.
Yeah, of course.
Perhaps it's a shame they didn't have the same media exposure.
Yeah, the same media exposure, but also the same history and the same, I'll be honest, the caliber of the 2 disciplines are difficult to compare, but absolutely, her dominance is clear.
Lisa Carrington takes the gold, Yvonne Schering takes the silver, and Klinova takes the bronze medal.
In 5th place, young Michelle Russell, my teammate, got to point out, really, really strong race from both Linnea and Michelle, who represent the sort of the next generation of women's
and with Sarah Guyot from France as well, there's some strong athletes who are going to be pushing in the next couple of years.
Always pushing the game, hopefully, keeping Lisa on her toes, although she doesn't seem to have any problem staying on her toes, does she?
K2 men, 200 meters final. 2 teams from Sweden, 2 teams from Australia. Great Britain, possibly the form team in lane number 5.
2 teams from Canada as well. We've got lots of representation from the Commonwealth countries, and also 1 from Belgium and 1 from Italy, and lanes 1 and 9.
Well, these are pretenders. These are the under-23s, Elnas and Lilia. They haven't actually, the senior Swedish team are the team that are going to go for the Worlds, but the pretenders are up to take a scalp today.
Well, it's a good opportunity for them to race against a world-class field. This is certainly a top-notch final. 2 or 3 of the crews have medaled at the World Championships before. Got a little bit of a mix-up between the 2 Canadian crews. We're used to seeing Hugues Fresnel and Ryan Cochrane, and right now we see Etienne Morneau with Hugues Fresnel. Etienne's raced with all the guys, but they're trying every combination to try to see which pair is the best. Here we see Jesse Phillips and Stephen Bird from Australia, from Perth, Australia. These guys have been together forever, it seems, and they're staying over for the entire summer to train with these 2 gentlemen. Liam Heath and Johnny Schofield. Do you want to say a thing or two about that?
Yeah, I heard the other day that they're coming for 5 weeks to train with them. I think it's a very good decision to make because they're so professional and they work extremely well together. And they're the most consistent people out there. There's no one else that medals every time they race. So these guys will be looking to catch him and try and be more consistent.
We just saw Erik Svensson and Christian Svanquist from Sweden, and then of course Marc-Alexandre Gagnon and Ryan Cochrane from Canada. Kenny Wallace and Lockie Tame, great to see them on the line in the 200-meter final. Obviously silver medalists yesterday in the K2 1000, and then Yori and Jonathan from Belgium, young guys in the K2 200.
And Kenny and Lockie, they looks like they're just having so much fun out there.
They are, and I think a lot of it has to do with Lockie's attitude. The guy's just so positive and really easy to be around.
And yesterday I was watching them in the K4 200 meters with all four of them here in competed today in the boat. They were just laughing their heads off after the race.
Yeah, it's a really good time. You can see through social media what a good time the Aussies are having together. Fortunately, another false start for the 200-meter men on the line here.
It'd be interesting to see how Lockie and Kenny do in this 200 field, since they medal in the 1000. It's quite a big jump in between.
Kenny, you name better than most, I suspect, Alan, but first weekend we had him in the commentary box in Montemor 2 weeks ago. He said he feels like a bit of a fraud, only competing in one event rather. So he won pretty much everything. He won the 500, the 5000, and came second in the K2 1000.
Nobody's going to accuse Kenny of feeling like a fraud, and I think he managed
himself.
Yeah, he managed his energy really well over these 3 weeks, racing choice events and piling up here in the final. The boys are off. You can see the Brits and the Swedes in the middle of your lane, as well as the Canadian crew of Marc-Alexandre Gagnon and Ryan Cochrane in lane 7.
Well, the Brits in new action, really putting it powerfully down in the middle of your picture.
Looks like the Swedes to me in lane 4. Really, really hard to tell. The Brits and the Swedes and the other Canadian crew. It's too close to call at this stage. So many strokes going on. Really, really strong finish from the second Aussie crew of Kenny and Lockie.
So Great Britain are going to take the victory by about a quarter of a length from, looks like, Sweden with in lane number 8.
I can confirm Kenny and Lockie in bronze medal position there. Pretty amazing, those 1,000-meter guys coming through in the 200. Wow, I mean, it's maybe a bit of a stretch to call Lockie a 1,000-meter guy. He's only just recently switched to 1,000, so he's still got good 200-meter form. And having trained with Kenny as much as I have, I can tell you he's really, really fast off the line. And he might have reacted first there, actually. Impressive racing from the Aussies, from the Swedes, and from the Brits.
But the specialists of this sport, the Olympic bronze medalist, Great Britain, it looks like in the end they controlled their race.
Yeah, very, very impressive. They are maybe one of 2 crews out there using the Quattro, the new Cinco K2. But really, as was pointed out, so consistent from these guys. We can always expect a medal from these guys when they line up. Always on form. And
Liam Heath is quite fast in the 200 individual.
Him and Ed McKeever have a good head-to-head at our nationals. It's a good race.
Well, confirmation of the result. Great Britain, unofficial rather, Sweden silver, and Australia given the bronze, with Canada coming really closely up together.
Yeah, very close. It's going to make Fred Jobain's job a little bit more difficult, unfortunately, trying to select a K2 for the World Championships with those 4 guys sitting so close together. But I just really can't get over the fact that we've just seen Kenny Wallace and Lockie Tame get a bronze medal in K2 200. These guys are impressive.
C2 200 meters, A final. Again, 2 teams from Italy, 2 teams. Was that Sweden?
No, this is Canada. C2. No, there's no canoers from Sweden. We got 2 C2s from Italy and 2 C2s from Canada.
Buttons and reading. They'll teach me.
And Vadim Menkov and Sarek Mirbekov from Uzbekistan, who won the C2 yesterday.
Vadim, when he crossed the line, he was so delighted. Did you see it? You probably heard it from here.
I think he actually scared young John Spence. It is on the program. His name's Craig. We call him Craig Spence. Actually, we call him a lot of things because he's the youngest guy in the team. But he scared him, actually. He told me that he looked over at Vadim Menkov and he was terrified by the look on his face. Got some excited guys here in lane 3 from Ecuador. Andres Ecuador, they're getting pumped up for their C2 200-meter race. Yul Otze from Germany, he just finished the C1 500 less than an hour ago with Roland Verch.
He's trying different combinations this weekend.
And here are the Italian pairs. The first one's Pietro Rapelli and Daniello Auricchio. I don't know why I'm pronouncing the Italian names. When
You're pronouncing them very, very well.
You do it.
It's very, very well, but they're switching them an awful lot.
The second crew of Daniela Santini and Luca
Incoglio.
Thank you.
You can call them by their first names if you like. They, I guess, they're one of the form teams because they did well. But these guys medaled last weekend.
Okay, interesting to note here that we've got Ben Russell and Gabrielle Beauchamp-Sevigny in reverse position, because we were used to seeing Ben stroke, but arguably Gabby is the stronger sprinter out of the two of them, so they switched spots. So now they've got a left in the back, which I think if you look over the crews, it's about half and half. But yesterday in the C2 1000, it was all rights in the back, which is interesting because it was a bit of a left win, so it was difficult for all crews.
Is Ben related to Michelle?
No, Ben and Michelle aren't related, but Ben is related by brotherhood to Andrew Russell, who was Gab's previous C2 partner in the Beijing Olympics and prior to it. So Gabrielle is basically a member of the Russell family, as he's been racing with one or two of the brothers over the past decade.
Well, they're on the start line. C2, 200 meters.
Good shot of the Ecuadorian fellows.
They, in the Worlds, they reached the B final. And in Milan World Cup, I was looking at details of them last year, they took the bronze medal. So they came over last year.
So fast guys from South America here. Interesting to see how they go up against two Canadian crews and two Italian crews. And obviously, not to count out the champions from yesterday. As we were saying earlier, the canoeists seem to have an easier time than some of the other disciplines crossing over between the 1,000 and the 200. So Vadim Menkov and Serek Mirbekov of Uzbekistan, expect a strong race from them.
And Vadim's not been on the scene as long as you, but he was the 2009 and 2010 C1 1000 world champion. He's one of the great artists of the C4 team of Wales. He's really been around a long time.
In this race.
Yeah, seems like the start system's malfunctioning. They're not going to use them.
As you correctly predicted, the start system sunk, so they're going to be doing the old-fashioned starting.
Okay, all we can hope for is a fair start then.
Well, it's a natural, it's a lovely natural setting. So let's hope we have a fair start, because it can be crucial.
German crew got their paddles up already. Didn't look perfect there.
Well, there's some good starts from the lane number 2. The
Ecuador. It's lane 3 actually, but Ecuador in C2, as you pointed out, really fast stroke rate, as well as the second Italian crew of Daniela and Luca. Good head-on shot of the German crew there with Jol and Roland.
Well, as we mentioned, he was in the water half an hour ago, so it looks like he's nice and fresh.
I think unfortunately they got left on the line a little bit as well.
But the Italians looking to come back into it.
Ecuador, though, also big strong push from Uzbekistan in the second half here. But Italy, Ecuador,
Canada are going to making the move. They turn the motor on with 30 meters to go. It looks like Italy's going to take it. Very fast finish from Canada. Whoops, there's a fall.
There's Uzbekistan is in the water now, but I think if I had to guess, I'd say it went Italy, then Uzbekistan, then Canada.
It looks like they gave it their all coming over.
No, Ecuador must have been in the top 3 there. But
well,
definitely Daniel Santini and Luca Incoligno. No?
Yes, that's right. They were 4th last week in Duisburg. So the
strong race from Paul Bryant and Craig Spence in lane 8.
So we certainly saw the top 2 teams have the fastest reaction.
It could have been because the speakers were off. If they were listening for the start, it could have been that they heard it first.
Do you train for all eventualities?
Yes, I can't say that
we saw at the top of your pit there. Just goes in and over.
In Canada, in lane 7, Ben Russell and Gabrielle Beauchamp-Sevigny, the reverse combination that we're used to, hang on for bronze medal after a good silver medal performance yesterday in the 1,000. So, as we pointed out, the C-boat paddlers are good at crossing over between the two distances.
It looks like the start gates are working again now.
Well, look at the confirmation. They're not calling it, I guess it's official. Italy take it from Uzbekistan, take it from Canada. So the shoot over the line paid its dividends for Uzbekistan. Let's see if they're swimming or they're back in the boat. They're in the rescue boat, so that's good news.
Sadly, the strong start from the Ecuadorians didn't hold on for a medal, but strong position in 4th place there.
K2 women 200 meters final, and this could be open. There's a lot of names that. Well, I suppose lane number 1, the confident Germans, Francesca Weber and Tina Dietze, who were the world champions a couple of years ago, I see, when they were just not messing around, but they were trying other things. It's going to be interesting to see. We have a lot of new names. There's the girls we've been talking about in the picture yesterday. They clearly won. They were saying last year, why did it all go wrong? And they're just saying, well, we tried our hardest, but it just wasn't clicking, and now everything's working back again.
It seems that the women's K4, the German women's K4, just split up into 2 K2s for this race, so it'll be great to see Francesca Weber, Dina Dietze, Sabine Vols, and Connie Vasmuth, K4 winners just about an hour ago.
Perhaps not the household names we expect in Hungary. I believe they're having major internal trials next weekend, and that's obviously their major push for this season.
Yeah, it seems to me that the Hungarian team has been either a younger team or development team or a different group of athletes than we're used to seeing, but still very high caliber athletes, as well as Poland.
Exactly. With the normal 5 or 6 top athletes went for the first 2 World Cups and not perhaps competing in this one.
But it's great to see that these countries are still fielding entries to keep the caliber of the regatta up, because sometimes the 3rd World Cup is too much of a strain for the athletes, but it's great that they send another team.
And as you mentioned, we've seen these in action before. It's Sabine Vols and Connie Wasmuth.
Yeah, really fast paddlers. We expect Sabine's stroke rate to be up a little bit more than it was in the K4. We mentioned that the K4 stroke rate from Germany tends to be a little bit lower, but Sabine is uncharacteristically German, that she gets to be able to take her stroke rate up very, very high when it comes to the 200.
And 2 Chinese. Again, they're mixing and matching. We don't have that many references, but they brought 28 athletes to Montemor. They had a smaller team last week in Duisburg, and now they've upped their numbers again. So it's a major tour for the Chinese.
We had eight Chinese women in the K4 500-meter final. So I'm not sure which ones came out of the K4 and into the K2, but certainly a lot of strong athletes coming from China right now.
And there's no start gates again, so
count on the fairness of the athletes.
Should be a sportswoman of the regatta award given out later on then. Good thing it's not so wavy today. It's a little bit difficult. In one of our 500-meter races, we had to line up in the waves, and that was tough, but women seem to be lined up.
Well, lane number 1 are the pedigree established team. And they just look like they're having so much fun together. They say it's like we're back together, we're happy, and
they're good friends as well. Which
Tina's out of the army now, so she has more time. And Francesca's, I think she's year 6 now of a civil engineering degree.
Wow.
And it's nowhere near finishing, so she's quite relaxed about that.
Well, there's a lot of people spend 7 or 8 years in university. Some of them are called doctors, but others are called paddlers. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah. A little bit stressful. I'm stressed out. Are you stressed out, Jess? Watching them trying to get lined up?
Yeah, it's really
The Polish
hard
crew and the
work.
Chinese crew seem to be far up ahead of the line.
To get 9 people to line up exactly in a line together is impossible.
Especially with like 5 or 6 different languages. Up, back, forwards. I don't know who the start is, but we've got his work cut out for them. Dietze and Francesca Weber are out to a really, really strong lead in lane 1. But Connie Vasmuth and Sabine Vols are holding on strong and now pushing through a little bit. We see the Chinese crew in lane 8 of Young Li and Wang.
They're coming up the line. It's certainly going to be Germany first, very close to second position. Ooh, too close to call though.
Looks like Germany, China to me. Really, really hard to tell. And unfortunately, we've got a capsized Polish crew in the middle of the lane.
They both surfaced.
You see the really interesting paddle that Sabine uses, Sabine Vols in the front there, a very skinny, small-looking paddle. I think it's a Lettman or maybe an FES, but a different paddle than the rest of the crews. Hopefully they're okay. Sometimes falling in a 200-meter and a 200-meter K2, and it's like whiplash. You're going so fast, you hit the water before you even realize you're about to fall in, and you're able to see that in slow motion now.
Jess, we threw you into the hot street straight away. What are your thoughts about today's racing?
I'd say that the K1 men's 500 was impressive by René. I love watching the men's 500 races because they can just go so much harder than women. So if we can just copy them,
I don't know if we're going harder. We're going slightly faster. We're certainly not going harder. I'm impressed with your level of effort also, Jess.
And Adam, your thoughts on the weekend?
Oh, it's been great. I think the weather is agreeing with us today, which is fabulous, but awesome. We haven't been to Copenhagen to race in a long time. I might be one of the only athletes that came in 2001.
Yeah,
So Germany have taken that Sabine Vols and Connie Wasmuth take the gold, Germany take the silver, and China take the bronze medal. So that wraps up the competitive part of the weekend. I hope you've had a lot of fun listening in. Major event clearly is going to be the World Championships. The different continentals are going to some of the Europeans are going to Baku, the Pan Americans are going to go to Toronto, your hometown, Adam.
Yeah, really looking forward to it.
Should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's a big summer of racing. Are you sending a very big team to Baku?
Yeah, they're sending quite a strong team. because it's all paid by the Olympic Committee, so they're making quite a big thing about it.
Yeah, that's great.
That's clean Azerbaijan. And Toronto, your hometown, is that a big buzz behind it?
It is, yeah. Toronto. Anybody listening from Toronto is getting excited for the Pan Ams. It's, I think it's something like the second or third biggest sporting event in the world after the Summer Olympics. It's a huge number of athletes, more sports than the Summer Olympics, and providing a great influx of infrastructure to the Greater Toronto area, as we call it, for sport infrastructure. We built a velodrome, the canoe kayak venue got a bit of a facelift, and a new track and 2 new pools. So, lots of great
stuff. Well, thanks for tuning in. Look forward to seeing you soon. We're actually moving across to the slalom world, so if you have an interest in paddling, keeping tuned, Jess Walker, Adam Vancouver, and Matthew Layton, thank you so much for tuning in, and we look forward to catching you up next time. If you go to YouTube, you can watch Planet Canoe, all the action again, and we produced a 26 documentary which should be ready by about Thursday next week, so thank you for tuning in.
Cheers, Matt. Thanks for the opportunity.
Thanks.